Bernie Sanders, one of my favorite topics to talk about because it pisses off first worldists so much. Bernie Sanders has always been pro-capitalist. That's pretty obvious from everything he says, what with his drive to actually defend capitalism. And you know, his kind of really awfully horrible, evil stance towards Palestine. But let's just go a little bit further. Bernie Sanders outright and openly supports U.S. imperialism against Syria. That's right, he continues to advocate U.S. violence against a sovereign nation that has never done a single thing to the United States. I support President Obama's effort to combat the Islamic State in Syria, while at the same time supporting those in Syria trying to overthrow the brutal dictatorship of Bashar al-Assad. I think it should be fairly obvious by now that the FSA has been a plot by the United States this entire time in order to overthrow the Syrian government, and that the continued support for the FSA, or the people against Bashar al-Assad, is support for terrorism. It's a support for imperialism. And that fact should not be lost on anyone. Let's take this even further. You know who some of the biggest supporters of Bernie Sanders are? The ISO and the Socialist Alternative. You'll recall the Socialist Alternative, that's the one that Kashama Sawant was from, the one that thinks that they did revolution because they got somebody elected and everybody was going around thinking that that was what happened. One. But let's take this even further. You know who some of the biggest supporters of Bernie Sanders are? The ISO and the Socialist Alternative. You'll recall that's the Kashama Sawant one. In fact, both of these organizations came out supporting Bernie Sanders for president even before he'd officially announced that he was going to run. So, isn't it really strange how these so-called socialist organizations are now, who have claimed to be anti-imperialist in the past, are openly supporting someone, a reformist, who is pro-imperialist against Syria? Have people started to notice this yet? Do you remember back when Kashama Sawant got elected and I said like what a complete BS that was? It's first worldism going into reform, as first worldism always does. And then when I said that, I was accused of being racist, because that totally makes sense. Now, are people willing to start acknowledging this here? That look at all these people who said they were for revolution and against reform, they all suddenly picked up and started voting for Kashama Sawant. And now that those same people who had made fun of everybody who had ever said, well, we should vote for Obama because he'll give us health care, which is reform, all those people who so vehemently opposed using reform, are now suddenly all turning around and jumping on the Bernie Sanders bandwagon. And this is one of the things that we third worldists have always made. First world people will not go towards revolution. They will always, in every way, shape, and form, lean, follow, eventually just go the way of reform. And this is one of those perfect examples of that. Because I said this was coming. I said there's going to be something that's going to come up. There's going to be like some capitulation by the ruling class, and first world people, even so-called Marxists and socialists, were going to line up right behind this because it meant that they weren't going to have to do revolution. And the fact that they don't want to do revolution and they refuse to do revolution is what will take them right down that reformist path. And I think with Bernie Sanders, Kashama Sawant, the ISO, the Socialist Alternative, that's exactly what happened, and that's exactly what I said was going to happen. If you like this video and you'd like to see more of them, then head over to my Patreon page and show your support. Or you can go to the MRN bookstore and check out some of the latest books available. Don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe, and share on various social media.